Just checking sound. I can't hear anything.
The camera off until we're ready to go.
Which one it would be?
Okay.
Councilor Gunn, I would need you to your camera until I start the live stream, just because otherwise it's just you on the live.
designed my tickets on Shelley.
Can hear us and see us okay, Councilor Good?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Kayla.
He's not even on his lips.
Yeah, there's a major delay for
That was cool.
major delay between voice and video.
Very interesting. Did you see that?
Okay, we're ready?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'll call the organizational meeting of Monday, October 23rd, 2023 to order at 5 p.m. And to start our new year in our municipal way, I would like to acknowledge that we share the homeland of the many diverse First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We're grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. And as part of our start of this agenda, I thought we might have a little quick look back and a look forward to the rest of our year. We're midway through our council term. So I would ask councilors to say one thing that they really worked hard at the last year, or they're happy that it's moving forward, and one thing that they're looking forward to in the next 12 months with respect to municipalities and Peace River. So you had a chance to think of that for 2 seconds. Deputy Mayor Ford, what do you think?
Well, this year when it came to crime, we had lots of meetings when it came to crime prevention and safer communities. There's been a lot of accomplishment there. I'm very much looking forward in the next 12 months to no more wildfires so that we can get back into those parking lots and start pounding the pavement and get some positive ticketing out there, as well as the Lock It or Lose It program with our crime prevention. So we're looking forward to that. This year, we just couldn't get it done as everybody was committed on the fires. So
Great. Who'd like to go next? Councilor Carr.
Things I'm most excited about that we've done is I'm very impressed with the excitement and involvement in economic development and improvement of downtown, focus on improving the downtown core. One more thing that I'm very excited about is Councillor Boychuk's task force and what they've been able to achieve with mobile outreach program and Alberta Health involvement with them stepping up as well. I think those are both amazing accomplishments, which will continue to grow and benefit the town. Probably most looking forward to more development on in those 2 areas in the next 2 years, I would say.
Great. Who'd like to go next? Councilor Stanford.
I know it's not officially a council thing because it's under a different piece of legislation, but when we ran into COVID at the Housing Foundation, a bunch of things that we were planning on kind of had to go on hold as a result of kind of dealing with our clients and making sure that they were taken care of. So, now that we've got things back underway for the West Hill development situation, that really looking forward to making the progress on that we've sort of been waiting for. And so the fact that we've been able to start planning and resume that this year has been really fantastic. So that's me.
Great. Who would like to go next? Councilor Good.
Yeah, I think the thing that's excited me most about the last couple of years has been the bringing of new and divergent opinions to the council. And I think that a council that has people on it who are willing to express their viewpoints and to express them openly and honestly, and to really examine their own assumptions and stuff. It's been a wonderful process, and it's been a wonderful process of getting to know people that you maybe kind of had a passing knowledge of prior to working with them on council. But I found it to be very, very challenging and refreshing and wonderful. Part of being on council is examining the different opinions that come and looking at them for their validity and trying to really explore how, when people feel passionately about something, what makes them passionate about it and why they bring those ideas forward, and what is the validity of those ideas, and looking to them for information that you didn't have when you walked in. So to me, that's really the wonder and the joy of it, but I'm not sure how to explain it any more than that.
Thank you. Next, Councilor Boychuk.
Although I've had the opportunity to sit on and partake in many boards, being chair of the library board has opened my eyes to, you know, behind the scenes of what our library does and how amazing some of the staff is there and the programs they run for our community and for them to be recognized from the ministry is amazing and well deserved. So it's been really eye-opening to work with the board members and guide the library along and see their successes. So I just totally enjoyed that. And definitely been the highlight.
Great. Councillor Shannon?
There's a lot. Well, I'm really happy that we've made progress in the economic development area. That's why I'm here. And with Mark's initiatives, Councillor Boychuk's initiatives as well, I think I'd like to echo what Councillor Carr said. You know, we had some real successes with that. But I still think that if we had a strong economic base, we would be more successful with those kind of projects. So I would like to keep pushing for that. Another thing I want to really concentrate on now is Indigenous relations and collaboration. Major was on the strategic plan for a reason. And so I'm going to start working more with that. I'd like to, for the future, I'd like to see that a little more. And I think we're on a good path. I really do. I think we accomplished a lot in the first 2 years, and I think the next 2 years are going to be just as active, very active, I think, and I think good things are coming, and I think it's good.
Great. So I can say ditto to the above, and I guess some of the things I've been quite happy with is our movement along continuously improving our infrastructure, be it the recreational type or the basic get your water pipes. And we always have struggles with that, but I think we're getting better at dealing with them perhaps, and better at advocating for government. I would also like to say that, we've had our challenges in getting a full complement of staff in the last year or so, but we seem to have staff in place now. So hate to tell you guys, but great expectations now for going into the future. So thank you, everyone. It's nice to have some positive vibes happening both in the past and in the future. Yeah.
One of the accomplishments that I did forget to mention is I'm very proud of the fire department and the delivery of the new aerial apparatus. That was a great accomplishment.
Things take a while. Okay, so now we have the agenda in front of us. Are there any changes to the agenda? Someone would like to move the adoption of the agenda. Deputy Mayor Ford moves that council adopt the agenda of October 23rd organizational meeting of council as presented. All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Okay, the next step then we have the appointment of the deputy mayor, and we do this by means of nominations and carry on from there. Mr. Ford,
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'll put a nomination on the floor to nominate Councillor Shannon for deputy mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Shannon, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay. Any other nominations? I'll repeat that 3 times. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, Councillor Shannon is declared to be deputy mayor for the next year. Thank you. We still need a motion. So, okay, so someone can move.
Thank you, your worship. I put a motion on the floor that council appoint Councillor Shannon as deputy mayor for a 1-year term commencing immediately and expiring at the next organizational meeting of council in 2024.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion? It is carried. Okay, next step, we have councillor appointments to boards and committees. And to let everyone know, we had asked councillors to put forth the committees that they would like to represent in some way, either by being the primary person on it or an alternate. And a couple of the committees, there's no choice. Certain people have been in the position because they are required by legislation to be there and have had training sometimes in order to do that. For those that have more than one person wanting to be, say, the primary person, we will end up having a secret ballot selection. And before that, I will ask anyone in a particular committee if they want to change their choice. And of course, somebody else could always pop into saying, I'd like to put my name forth as well. So I'll just go through the list then. The first one is the Community Services Board. And we have Councillors Scamahorn and Carr who would like to put their names forward as primary. And if that is still the case, we would.
Okay with you taking that back. I just put my name on because I had it before.
Funny story, I just put my name on a few of them that fit my schedule, so anything I could actually attend,
Yeah.
I just let my name stand,
If
so.
you're interested in that, by all means.
And they meet on Wednesdays, it's a fourth Wednesday, so that works for me.
Okay, so I heard that Councillor Carr is withdrawing his name from the primary there. Anyone else other than Councillor Scamahorn? Okay, so admin, I think we'll go through these and then appoint them all with one motion at the end, right? Okay, so Scamahorn is for that one. The alternate on that position, Councillor Ford had put forth his name. Any other?
Unless you want it.
Same. Okay, so Councillor Ford's name is on that one as well. Municipal Planning Commission, we have 3 council reps and there were 3 councillors, Scamahorn, Carr, and Good, that put their names forth for this. Are there any others? Okay, then the 3 are on it and there's no alternates for that one. On the Peace River Municipal Library Board, we have 1 council person and there's no alternate on this one as per legislation. So we have Councillors Boychuk and Scamahorn that put their names forth for this one.
So I would withdraw
Okay,
from that one. He's chairing it, dude, I'm assuming. You don't chair it because you're not passionate and all that other stuff, so yeah, that's very good. Glad to.
That is my only board.
okay. Okay, so we've got that one done. The next one, the Peace Regional Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. Councillor Ford is on that one, and we cannot have an alternate. And Councillor Ford has taken the training to hear that as well. So I think that would stand. The 5th one, Education and Joint Use Committee. I put my name forward for that one. Anybody else want to put their names to vote? No. Okay, so that one will stand as well. Peace River Aboriginal Interagency Committee, otherwise known as PRAC. I put my name forward as the rep and Councillor Boychuk put his name forward as the alternate. Anyone else want to step forward for either of those? Okay, so be it. North Peace Housing Foundation. Per legislation, we cannot have an alternate. 2 people have put their names forward for this, Councillor Scamahorn and Councillor Carr. And is that still the 2 that would like to put their names forward?
Yes.
It is. Then I would give you both a little bit of time to say why you should be the rep, and then we'll go to a vote. So Councillor Scamahorn?
Sure. So I've been on the board for 5 years now. And have been elected by the board of directors to be the chair of the development committee for the West Hill development. So that's work that I'm currently in the middle of and would like to continue doing. I think this is best for having that happen in Peace River. It's been something we've been wanting to do for a long time, and I would like to continue progressing towards making that neighborhood in Peace River around, the medical clinic, Rotary House be the, the 55 plus campus for the town and continue that work on that committee in particular.
You, Councillor Carr?
I've always had an interest in this board and in this foundation. I think I struggle with a lot of the committees I'm on where I feel that I'm not maybe contributing as much as I could. And this one I feel would be right in my wheelhouse with the projects that they have going on and upcoming, having done development and been in construction for 30+ years. I guess that's about it.
Okay. Okay, then we've been given names on little pieces of paper here. So our legislative coordinator will be around with the box to collect them and then announce the one who got the most votes.
Where are you gonna collect them on?
And Mr. Good is texting.
How do you collect Councillor Goods?
He texted me his
Texting.
Oh, okay.
vote.
I will.
Okay, to just announce the result, the resulting,
The one who had the most votes, yes.
Councillor Carr.
Thank you. Okay, got that one. Okay, the next one is the Peace Library System. And I put my name forward for that as well. Anybody else want that?
I'll go as your alternate if you need one.
Yes, we can actually have an alternate on the system one, but we can't have it on the municipal level one. Anybody else want to put names forward for that? Okay, so it's Manzer for primary and Boychuk for alternate. Next one up, we have the Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisory Committee. And this one, we had 2 people put their name forward, and then we have an alternate position as well. So we have Councillors Ford and Scamahorn that have put their names forward. Any changes to that? Okay, Councillor Ford, would you like to have a few words?
I was just gonna say, I could just
Oh.
alternate on that.
He'll go alternate. Okay. Okay, so that puts Ford as the primary and Scamahorn as the alternate. We have the Peace Waste Management Company, and we need 3 people. 3 people put their names forward for this one, Manzer, Carr, and Shannon. Anybody else like to put their name up for this? Okay, then, we've got 3. The Rural Peace Protection, Fire Protection Area Advisory Committee. I think Ford put his name forward for primary and Manzer for alternate, but we need 2. So Manzer could go as well, but does somebody else want to go as primary on that one? On the fire protection area.
Okay, we need to.
It says 2 here. I don't think the committee meets too often, even though maybe in future it will start meeting.
Councillor Scamahorn was on that with me last term and
We met once.
Yeah.
once the whole term. Yeah.
We CAO?
So, Your Worship, we're working towards reestablishing those meetings. They would prefer daytime meetings if possible, and we're looking to try to schedule something around the 22nd of November. our first meeting. I
Daytime?
mean, that is, not written in stone, but I do have an email from CEO Van Ord and said their councilors do prefer daytime meetings if possible. And we are anxious to schedule something because it has been absent for a while.
Yes, Counselor Ford?
Where would those daytimes meeting be held?
That's the thing, that's not set in stone, it's just she just said,
Now, if that daytime meeting was after 3 o'clock and closer, then I could, that would still be doable.
I think she said, for us, the councilors from the southwards are likely, they're likely from the south end. Does that mean something? Yeah. Nobody wants to drive in the dark in the winter. That's the challenge. So like 4 o'clock, probably we could do meeting 4.
Yeah, that's doable.
If we need a second person, I could.
Okay, so as primary or as alternate?
Well, we need 2 primaries?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I was primary as well.
Okay. Okay, so we got Ford and Carr as primaries and Manzer as alternate. Next, we have Northern Lakes College Community Education Committee, CEC. Manzer put her name forward as primary, Shannon as alternate. Anybody else? Okay, Peace River and District Chamber of Commerce, Shannon put her name forward as primary, Manzer as alternate. Okay, Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction Retention Committee, Manzer put her name forward as primary, Shannon as alternate. Any other? Okay, Northern Alberta Elected Leaders, Manzer put her name forward as, did you have your name up or your hand up? No, okay, Manzer put her name forward as primary, Shannon as alternate. Anyone else? Okay, the Mercer Public Advisory Committee, Scammahorn put his name up as primary. And I don't know, if we can, I think we can have an alternate on that one. I was alternate in the past.
I'd be alternate if that was open or you.
No, I think I was alternate last time, wasn't I?
I was. I thought I was, but maybe I was.
One there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Scammahorn as primary, Shannon as alternate. Emergency Advisory Committee, all of council. Unsightly Premises Appeal Board, which is all of council. County of Northern Lights ICF Committee. I'm going to remove my name from here. We've got Scammahorn and Good. We need 2 reps and no alternate.
Doesn't the mayor have to be part of the ICF group?
No.
So any changes to that one? Okay, so Scammahorn and Good are Northern Lights ICF, Northern Sunrise ICF. We need 3 people and no alternates are possible. Manzer, Scammahorn, and Shannon put their names forward. Any others? Okay. MD of Peace ICF Committee, Scammahorn and Carr put their names forward. We need 2 people. Anybody else? Okay, and do we need an alternate? Okay, we'll leave it blank for now then. Mighty Peace Tourism Association, we've got Scammahorn and Shannon. Okay, Scammahorn will go as alternate, Shannon will be primary. Any other people interested? Well, I shouldn't say interested, willing to step up. We're all interested. Economic Development Committee, we've got Shannon as primary, Carr as alternate. Okay. Peace Regional Mental Health and Addictions Task Force, we've got Scammahorn and Carr as primary, and then we had an alternate. So we need 1 as the primary. Now we've got, so I think Mr. Ford.
Yes, your worship, being that there's 2 people interested in primary, I'll remove my name as alternate.
Okay, and I think everybody should take a quick look at whatever they've been assigned to make sure that we're kind of getting some, well, as much balance as possible, which is, we're kind of tipped because of timing and stuff. But anyway, so on this one, we've got Scammahorn and Carr. Scammahorn will go alternate, okay, so Carr will be primary. So before we finalize these, there was a proposal that the town become a member of PRETA and NTAB, Northern Transportation Advocacy Bureau. Admin is checking out what it means to be members of these two committees or boards, and if there's financial costs to other than sending members, we'll deal with that in budget and then decide after that if we're going to be members, and then we need people to represent us. So if anybody's had another look over things and say, I want to not put my name forward for something that they've been assigned to, remember the primary has a responsibility to let the alternate know when the meetings are, especially the meetings that the primary person cannot attend. The alternate person attends in the absence of the council rep. If it's a public meeting, they can attend as they wish, sort of thing. But any other last minute thoughts on this list?
Can I just ask one?
Yes,
I missed the Mike Peace Tourism Association. What was resolved on that? It's Scammahorn and Shannon.
Shannon is the primary, Scammahorn is the alternate.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Any others? Councilor Wojcik?
And I just wanted to advise that on the mental health and addiction task force, our council's the only one that does have alternate council members on it.
Does it have a terms of reference that speak to that?
I can't recall if it comes right off the bat, but I do know that our council is the only one that has had an alternate show up.
Okay, well, maybe since we've got it on a list, we'll leave it as the alternate until the task force tells us. we can't. So I assume that they try to send somebody to the meetings if they can't attend, or they just don't.
I just have not had an alternate. I don't know if each council does have an alternate, but I've just, every email I've received just told me who the designate is. And I know Berwyn has an alternate too, but
Yeah, okay.
but nobody has ever shown up as an alternate other than ours, which is good.
Okay. Okay, so we've got our appointments, and maybe someone would put forth a motion on this matter. Otherwise, nobody's appointed to any of the committees. Councilor Ford.
I put a motion on the floor that council appoint members of the council to committees and boards of council as discussed during the 2023 organizational meeting, with a list of appointments being attached and forming part of these minutes.
Thank you. All those in favor of that motion? It is carried. So part of this then is that admin usually writes letters, because some of these boards, if you don't have a letter saying you were appointed, it means you can't vote at the meetings and stuff like that. So that will happen in the background, and thank you for doing that. Okay, next up is the proposed regular meeting schedule. And anybody speaking to this, or we're just kind of looking at it and maybe the CAO was speaking to this.
So thank you. Just request for decision seeking adoption of the 2024 regular meeting schedule. So although the procedural bylaw and the GMP committee bylaw outlines the regular schedule dates, we do make some slight changes. So if you notice when you were looking at the calendar, it also included when we knew of conventions or special dates and events that have been included in that. We did bring forward a proposal that we would like to just schedule one council meeting for July and August. Doing so has become best practice for municipalities. It allows us, in particular administration, some solid time to kind of catch up and catch on our breath of all that happened in the first half of the year. And then through the summer, work on some research and projects and preparation for a resumption of normal GMP and regular meetings in September. keeping in mind that council, if there is some business that comes up that needs to be tended to, council can schedule a special meeting at any time. And then we did do a little bit of a changing in September as well, because we found it chaotic this September, trying to schedule a GMP, a meeting, and AM, and do all the preparations. So you'll see when you see the proposed meeting for September, it resumes the GMP. And then we skipped the first meeting and we shifted a meeting to allow time for us to get all the preparation for an advocacy and whatnot for next year's AM. So with that in mind, we are hoping council will accept the calendar schedule as proposed. I think we have two community outreaches in there as well. We have the one, I think, in April scheduled, and then the Christmas coffee with council.
Any comments? I do have a comment. I understand the July and August changes. It means we go from 3 meetings to 1 meeting. However, I can understand that for July, but in August, if we only have 1 meeting, and then September, we have a GMP and 1 meeting. I'm kind of thinking the crunch starts to happen for council in terms of decision-making with respect to budgets and whatnot. And I would like to propose that we end up with 2 meetings in August, and then just the GMP and regular in September. So the 2 meetings in August, and my thoughts would be August 12th and August 26th. It gives us time to deal with some quarterly reports and stuff like that, we don't want to push off too far for our own council information. But anyways, councilors, any thoughts on that, or does it matter? Councilor Good?
Yeah, I think having the second meeting could have some value.
In August?
That's correct.
Councilors, any other thoughts?
I'd agree with that. I think August is the time to put in that extra attention on the budget. I think that's a good idea.
If I may, your worship, I just want to say that there will be no discussions on budget over the summer. Just if that's the purpose for the meeting. I just don't want any expectations of any budget discussions during the summer.
Well, I think part of it also, it gets us caught up, and maybe a few more thoughts as to what we want to do at Alberta Munis for ministers meetings and stuff like that. So we've got a little more prep time possible, because I know it did get rather rushed this year. It was too much for staff to really deal with all that we had. But that's my thoughts. Well, I guess we can have a little quasi vote on this and then amend or not. That way. Okay, so how many would go for, at the same time, 2 meetings in August and 2 meetings in September? And how many would go for 1 meeting in August and 2 meetings in September? Okay, so a little adjustment to this then would be that. And I see the open houses are here. One is, just so we're well aware, December 5th, and the other was in April something, I think, for me.
We also scheduled. Sorry, we also scheduled a proposed regional summer event again in June for next year.
Okay, so the 2 proposed open houses are March 7th and December, what I just said. Okay, December 5th. And then a regional open house, or regional meeting with other municipalities And this does not include the usual Christmas suppers and stuff that we need to collaborate on. Okay, any thoughts on that? When is Easter? Like I'm saying, okay, so it's not interfering with those. March 7th, that teachers convention? It is. That means you're out of town. Okay, and one is scheduled for Thursday in March, and the June one is scheduled for Thursday, no. When is the other one scheduled? The December one.
Yeah.
Thursday as well. We're good with those? Anybody want to suggest a change?
So your worship, when you're talking 2 meetings in August, you're talking the 12th and the 26th,
Yes.
and the 2 meetings in September, are you making meeting 2 regular meetings of council and a GMP, or just GMP and 1 regular meeting?
I was meeting GMP and a regular meeting on the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
Any other thoughts on the calendar? I think it's good to adjust for the AM conference in particular. The FCM conference is, depends where it is. I think it's in Calgary, so it means getting back on the Monday for a Monday evening meeting, but it's probably possible. We hope it's possible. Okay, if someone would like to move us along with well, accepting the changes and putting that all in the motion. Or we don't have to have meetings.
Councilor Good has to have
Counselor Good, sorry.
Yeah, I'll make a motion on that. I'll move that council accept the 2024 regular council meeting, regular governance priorities committee meeting calendar as adjusted in our conversation, with such meetings taking place at 5 p.m. in Peace River Council Chambers on the dates indicated on such calendar, and that such calendar shall be attached and form part of these minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion? Opposed, it is carried. Thank you very much. And the next step, we have legislative responsibilities of council. And CAO Miller, did you want to speak a bit to this one?
Sure, thank you, Your Worship. So this briefing note is just an annual reminder to all of council pursuant to section 208 of the MGA. I'm required to just remind you of your legislative responsibilities under the Act. So as it mentions, you can go to section 208 where your responsibilities are listed. We also included what every councillor needs to know, just for a refresher for yourselves. And just a reminder that we are in the process of bringing a new draft forward for the Code of Conduct, Bylaw 2083, and the amending bylaw, but until such time as that changes come forward for council's consideration and discussion, and we are all guided by the existing bylaws. That's pretty much it.
I just, in reading over those materials, I am just reminded that as a councilor here on this, around this table, that we need to represent the whole community. And we might have some great opinions about certain topics, but we still have to listen well to everyone and be willing to sometimes change our opinions due to new information and so on. And we all understand the Code of Conduct and basically how we are to manage our council roles, and basically our lives as basically a counselor 24 hours a day. And maybe we get to shut off the phone at some point in time, but we are a counselor and a counselor for the length of our term. So keep our minds open, and we perhaps are opinionated about certain things, but we have to still listen to everyone. And sometimes we change our minds, which is a good thing. So I'd like to thank admin for getting us organized for our organizational meeting. And council for thinking through all the committees and so on. And who's got their hand up? CAO?
Your worship, if I could just ask you to seek a motion for information, the last item, the legislative responsibility.
Sure, thank you. Okay, would someone like to make that motion? Councillor Wojciech? Please.
I'd like to make a motion that council move to accept the briefing note regarding council's legislative responsibilities for information purposes.
Thank you. All those in favor of that motion? It is carried. Thank you. And now, if someone would like to move the meeting be adjourned, and we'll come back to regular meeting shortly thereafter. Councillor Ford. So moves
So moved.
at 5:41. All those in favor? It is carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back to our regular council meeting for today.
Your worship,
We're back here at 5:46.
your worship.
Yes, Counselor?
Just like to say, I won't be here for the regular council meeting because of prior commitments. I'd just like to wish you all, I wish everybody there the best and have a very wonderful, productive evening.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Good, for making time for the part of the meeting you could attend. Safe travels.
You betcha. Thank you.
Where we were supposed to be.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so welcome everybody to the regular town council meeting of October 23rd, 5:46. And we have an agenda in front of us. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I do have an addition, your worship, please.
Okay.
Under closed section, I'd like to add regional meeting preparation under section 21, disclosure harmful to intergovernmental relations, and section 24, advice from officials.
Thank you. Any other changes? Okay, would someone move the council to adopt the agenda of October 23rd, regular council meeting as amended? Councilor Carso moves. All those in favor? Yep, good, thank you. Adoption of the minutes of October 10th. So we've had those to review. Anybody have any edits that they noticed? Okay, if someone would move the acceptance of the October 10th, 2023 minutes. Councilor Boychuk so moves. All those in favor? It is carried. Public hearings, we have none. Presentations, none. Bylaws, none. Unfinished business, none. And then new business, the Strategic Transportation Improvement Grant application with Director Fisher.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, Council. I guess I'll start off with a summary because my briefing note for my RFD paperwork is kind of long tonight. But the high level summary is there's a bridge over the Heart River into the 12-foot Davis Events Park. In 2022, we did a regulatory required inspection, and it showed that there were some major work pieces that were required on the bridge to prevent it from getting worse or becoming dangerous. And province has a program for grant funding for transportation infrastructure called the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Partnership or program, STIP. And under that program for bridges, they would fund up to 75%. With municipality required to cover the remaining 25%. And the high level is I think it would be advantageous to apply to the program for the town conservator for this bridge, so we can get the work done that has been identified as needed. In a really high level, the province basically requires municipalities for bridges to undergo regular and they're very specific inspections. Typically, it's a level 1 inspection on most bridge structures. Then as they get degraded and start having issues, you're required to do what's called a level 2 inspection, which is a more comprehensive inspection. For the bridge to the 12-foot Davis Park, we had a level 2 inspection done. And the highlights were basically there's rot on some of the structural members. Basically requiring and necessitating a reduction in the load rating for the bridge. There were issues with the bridge bearings requiring basically a redesign and replacement. Some of the bridge members are subject to loading, which they were not designed to accommodate. So that would require additional structural changes on the head walls to fix it, as well as a redesign of those members themselves. And then extensive rail and handrail replacements on the bridge deck itself, just to meet current safety requirements. In the report, not all of it needed to be done within 1 to 2 years, but a large chunk of it did need to be addressed within 5. So if we went forward with a project to do the bare minimum that needed to be done, we would have to be following up with planned repairs shortly after. The 1 to 2 year project that they identified was about $275,000 worth of work, sort of as an immediate needing to be done. And then the more comprehensive repairs for the bridge was identified at $625,000. Sort of the timeline for that would have been within 5 years of completing the work. And then they not really requested, but provided to the town as part of the report was a third option of replacing the bridge entirely, where they gave us a construction cost estimate of about $1.5 million. So if you added an allowance for contingency and engineering, about $2 million to do the work on the bridge. The park itself, if we want to keep using it, we probably do need to do work as administration, just to make sure that the bridge stays functional. And using someone else's money is obviously better than using our taxpayers' funds directly. We've kind of, the STIP program itself, the deadline for applications is November 30th. We require an RFD from council to apply. The level 2 inspection is a prerequisite for bridge funding, so we would submit the report with that. It would identify the needs. We would also accompany it with a letter from administration detailing why the bridge work needs to be done, why it's important to the community, and kind of justifying why we would want to do the work. And a big driver for that is we don't do something that might not be available. So we have sort of 4 options for an RFP. One is that council directs administration to apply for funding for a more comprehensive program of $625,000 for completing the repairs to the bridge to the 12-foot Davis Events Park. Big advantages of that are, you know, it's aligns with our strategic goals of maintaining a physically connected community and making sure that we have access to the park, delivers programs efficiently in a manner that's respectful to our taxpayers by reducing future maintenance requirements. It engages provincial government in the upkeep of our infrastructure and enhances financial sustainability of the municipality. If approved for funding, we would have to fund our portion 25%, about $160,000. And I think that we would look at our future capital plan if that were approved by the province to basically find the money by redirecting some of our other capital, maybe our overlay program or something like that. It could take multiple years for the province to approve us, review the file. Basically all provinces or all bridges in the province that apply through the program go on a list and they'll get prioritized. And it could take multiple years, so getting the application in is important early. The second option is applying for the less comprehensive repairs, basically the immediate ones. That's $274,000 in the report. If approved, we have a lower obligation as a town of Peace River. Still maintains physically connected community by doing some of the work. Finds outside sources. The disadvantage of applying for a reduced amount is we would have to find additional funding in the future to complete the next stage of recommended repairs or fund it ourselves. Option 3 would be that we decline to apply for grant funding on this bridge file. No contribution immediately required. There is a risk of further degradation to the bridge structure, which could increase costs or reduce access to that park. And obviously, we might not have an immediate financial implication, but there is a risk of more expensive projects being required in the future to maintain access. Or option 4, other direction is provided by council. Administration would recommend that council, the council directs administration to apply for a grant through the Strategic Transportation Improvement Program to fund a project with an estimated total cost of $625,000 for completing comprehensive repairs of bridge number 78118 over the Heart River to the 12-foot Davis.
Questions, councilors? Counselor Boychuk.
You know, when we mostly use this in the summertime, what would be the complications of just building a road, driving right through that river? For access?
Regulatory issues primarily, I would think. Challenges with getting approvals. I don't know if you can do that. I would have to go and commission a bunch of people to look at it to get you a more comprehensive answer.
It does have ice jams at times. Well, there.
Yeah, I'm just talking like an approach, drive over the rocks and that's 2 accesses, one on each bank, and just drive down there. So I'm just curious if you can do that. I see lots of lakes and places in BC where you have that type of access. So,
It'd be strange to me because you sit through the water, I don't know, routes and how going over a little puddle requires major infrastructure so you don't disturb something. So it'll be interesting how that would go. So my first question on this one would be the 625,000 is the sort of phase 1 and 2 of things. But that number does not include the electrical that they were talking about there.
No.
Yeah, so that would be an extra kind of commitment if you were doing it. My one question, similar to Councillor Boychuk, is if it's 625,000 plus, why not kind of wait and spend the probably 2 million plus and just get a new bridge? I know it puts it off. It means that access might not happen if something majorly happened to that bridge. But I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know, Councillor, what do you know? Councillor Ford?
So with what I read in the report, so the weight restriction on that bridge currently is 5 ton.
When the report was issued, yeah, it'll be due for another inspection next year, I believe, 2024.
So that,
It could be reviewed on the next inspection.
I thought it was lower than that. On the previous engineer.
What ton?
Pardon me?
Were we talking 1 ton or what?
Yeah, he had mentioned like 1 ton. Because right now, like, we have a beautiful park down there, and being a member of Peace Fest for years and years. Right now, you can't really hold a major event down there because you can't get equipment across that bridge because it's not. You don't have that rating anymore, because it used to be rated back in the day at 12 ton. So we were taking fully loaded 5 ton trucks with music equipment, stages, lighting, you name it, across that bridge, but you can't even do that anymore.
Other comments? Councillor Carr?
So that's 625,000, that's from a report a year ago. And was that an estimation by the engineering company?
Yes,
That wouldn't be a,
it was an estimate by the engineering company based on what they believe.
what they saw, okay,
And
which,
it included an allowance for engineering costs.
okay, with inflation and so on, would it be safe to assume it'd be significantly more than that number? And would we apply based on inflation and so on, or would we apply based on the 625,000?
Through the mayor, to answer Councillor Carr's question, the program requires sort of comprehensive cost estimating. So the easiest for moving this forward on a grant application basis would be applying based on the report. There is a risk that the costs could be different. But that's the way to move the grant application forward.
That's fair. That's fair. I just wanted some clarification. One other question I had, it slipped my mind. It'll come back. Thank you.
So the commitment would be to apply for a grant for 625,000, because that's what the paperwork kind of says. Plus find whatever it costs to do the electrical. And does that 625 include, there was, one of the reports meant something about the approaches? Is that in the 625 or not? Something about on the west side having to, I don't know, take out sidewalks and redo a few things. Hard to say.
I'm not clear at the moment. I'd have to go back.
Yeah.
Confirm.
So we need a decision tonight because this deadline is coming up for this grant fairly quickly. Yeah, Councillor Carr?
The other question I had is this grant you were talking about, it refers to infrastructure. Now, is that, I realize this is infrastructure, but would it, obviously, it's not a bridge that's used on a regular basis, which would probably be more likely to get the grant money, being as this an events park that hasn't been used in several years. Would it still qualify?
Through the mayor to Councillor Carr, I think it meets the requirements of being funded, but I think it would be a lower priority for the province to provide funding, which is why I said it could take several years for an application to be approved for funding.
Oh, okay.
It's not uncommon for some of these projects to go on to the provincial funding list, and then years later, an administration who wasn't associated with the application to receive a letter saying, hey, you got some money for this project. Okay.
Daniel Miller?
I would just like to add a couple of things. One being that, as you mentioned, it goes on the wish list year after year. So then every year we can basically reapply and update our numbers if we get fresher numbers or newer report. But to me, it's also important because if any other funding comes about that would be eligible for that bridge, it's good to show that it was of a priority to council to refurbish it. So they'll see that, oh, we've been applying through this program for a couple of years and all of a sudden this funding is available that may be easy to move over versus it just kind of comes out of the blue. And with respect to the weight, I did read myself the 5-ton, and it is just quite possible that our prior engineer was being very conservative and wanted to perhaps maybe if the weight was reduced, may have anticipated it may last a bit longer, that might have been the rationale. I don't know for certain, but it's possible. That might be why.
So the report says that this and that should be done within 1 to 2 years. And as Councillor Carr indicated, this is a report from last June. So here we are past June 23. So by June 24th, the report was saying a few things should be done to maintain some life expectancy of the bridge or repair some rot, etc. Right? So from 1 to 2 years, there was supposed to be things should be done is what they recommended. And then in another end of another 5 or so years, basically do the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, and the bridge is due for another inspection cycle, right?
So that'll be.
Pretty
a little cost,
pretty
too.
sure it's in 2024.
It's recommending every year now or something, isn't it?
I'll have to go. If it is, then I'll have to get on it now.
That could be wrong too. Okay, so counselors, your wisdom, bring it to the phone. Counselor Wojcik.
Well, the longer you wait, usually the more expensive it is. And, you know, when it comes to repairing stuff that's deteriorating, the sooner we get at it, the better, in my opinion.
I guess one of the questions we should also be thinking about, if we go to strategic plan and it talks about, you know, events in town and so on. If we say, do nothing to this bridge, we are at risk of not being able to use the bridge at all, I guess, at some point in time, which means the park is kind of null and void for any events that even now do take place there. There are a few weddings and, you know, odds and ends of family things, especially in the wintertime. I understand people cross-country ski, that sort of thing over there. So those sorts of things would have to stop, basically, the bridge wasn't there or was unusable. So keep that in mind with whatever we're thinking about here.
I think it would be a big asset for tourism and things like that too, so I would support keeping the bridge. And we're doing something with it, so we could use, it would be nice to be able to utilize it more and at a heavier weight.
So the other thing that then follows from that line of thought, if we think the park is, you know, it's a wonderful asset for our town. And we get to it by means of this bridge. And we have this grant possibility, which knowing other bridge files that seem to come forth, that seem to have, I don't know, hundreds of cars on them each year that are put off on the list for longer term, unless it's a different kind of grants list. It's probably, yes, good to get on the list, but chances of actually getting the grant, unless the government suddenly says, oh, I've got a little bit of money, Peace River, here you go, are kind of weak as well. So if we say we want to go forward with the grant application, are we then saying to ourselves, start putting money in the budget to do our part of it? And probably more money in the budget than just a quarter of the grant possibility, because as Councillor Carr says, things don't seem to be going downwards in costs. So are we willing to think that through at budget times as well? Is that part of what a choice could mean here? And if the grant application goes forward, it does mean that in the future, we would be, should we ever get the grant, be willing to spend a quarter of it.
Yeah.
And you either have the money set aside or the money gets taken from this and that in that particular year. Director Fisher mentioned could be the overlay program for pavement and stuff like that. So what would your choice be in talking to residents about bridge versus overlay programs? I like potholes filled myself. But, okay, so we've had our thoughts. Anybody willing to make a motion? So the recommendation here, it would get us on this list.
Right.
Yes.
If I may, just one more, I don't want to cloud the thinking, because I do feel, as we mentioned, the possibility of getting awarded any funding from STIP for this bridge is far a possibility. So, you know, should we ever get money under from STIP to fund this, we could always at that time say, if we didn't want to proceed, I'm sorry, it's deteriorated far too much. Our original application was this much. It doesn't mean that you would have to absolutely accept that funding if in 5 or 10 years from now. Again, I personally would like to get it on there for other purposes too. So I just don't want to cloud your decision saying, oh, we don't want to spend that money, or we're committing, because we are in part committing that portion, but down the road, either way, we have to either fund for a repair or fund for a replacement, or plan to never have the use of that land again, right? So just wanted to put that out there for clarity.
So if we say, yes, we want to apply for the STIP grant. And meanwhile, we know the bridge is in the condition it is. And the recommendation has been that within 1 to 2 years, certain things start to be repaired on that bridge. Now that we have this recommendation, are we kind of obligated to do those repairs no matter what?
I don't think so.
So we just take the chance that the bridge would have to have less use.
I think the inspection that comes out of 2024 is going to drive a little bit more on that answer to that question.
Councillor Scanlon.
Your $2 million replacement, is that like for like estimate?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Sorry, can you,
The $2 million estimate for replacement, is that is that a 12-ton bridge?
it's not the same style. I think it was.
Well, just the
It
same.
it was a really high level estimate from the engineering firm that said this span of bridge should cost this based on similar work that has happened elsewhere in the province. And they didn't do design, they didn't do detailed conceptual stuff. It was just something for us as administration to include as a comparator.
What if we just did like a pedestrian style bridge? Like enough that we can get a lawnmower across it?
Haven't looked at that.
This bridge would probably support, this bridge would probably support that for a long time.
Without 625K.
Right, if you want to limit it to basically a lawnmower, then you're limiting what you can use the park for, right? But I would imagine that this bridge would probably last for some time, but again, we'd find that out through that report.
So the porta potties might not get over to the other side.
How, what's the porta potty full of, for crying out loud?
Well. there's lots of
12-ton porta potty, I don't know, someone seems to do a lot.
Lawnmower and porta potty, I don't know. Okay, so we need to move along. Is somebody willing to put forth a motion? I guess realizing that it's a quasi commitment we're applying for the grant, but we're still waiting for another report, probably annually, biannually, and that will give us some more information as time goes on anyhow.
Can I just ask one more question?
How about me?
So with these deteriorating wood and stuff like that, are we any chance we're liable on somebody getting hurt on these cables that are exposed or broken handrails and stuff? Should we, are we gonna have to close that bridge soon if it keeps deteriorating and it becomes unsafe?
Through the mayor to respond to Councillor Wojciech's question, I would rely on the third-party inspection report as to whether or not we've got to close it or manage those risks in different ways. And right now, we don't have to close it, but they did recommend a load reduction rating.
I'd be willing to put forward the motion.
And your motion would be as for the recommendation or a different version of things?
It would be as the recommendation to apply for the grant through the Strategic Transportation Improvement Program. Option 1.
Okay, so to fund a project with an estimated total cost of $625,000 for completing comprehensive repairs to bridge number 78118 over the Hart River to the 12th Davis Events Park. That would be your motion?
Yes.
Sounds good. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion? It is carried. Thank you. And thank you. Okay, next up, we have ratification of the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction Retention Committee terms of reference and CAO Miller.
Thank you, Bishop. So, as we were preparing for the organizational meeting, we were starting to review some terms of reference, and the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction and Retention Committee had actually revised their terms of reference recently based on other mandates and their objectives have evolved some. So while we were reviewing the terms of reference to bring forward for council's ratification, we did have a few questions. There seemed to be a bit of ambiguity, and as outlined in the request for decision. So a couple of questions around financial resources, membership, and the meetings, and then we want to clean up some on the logo. So rather than rather than a request for decision asking or seeking ratification of these terms of reference, the administration is recommending that we go back to the committee and just ask them, work with the committee to just clear up a few of the questions we put forward and anything else that may be a bit confusing, and then bring those revised terms of reference back for council's ratification.
Okay, so basically you're asking that these questions go back to the healthcare committee for answers or something or other, according to what they think. Yeah,
Yeah, like so administration, we would just reach out to them and just mention that these things are unclear. Yeah, and ask them to provide some clarity in the terms.
so I should tell everyone that there are 5 municipalities on this committee. And the town of Peace River originated the committee, I don't know, way back in 2014, 15, sometime in there. And as a consequence, the town of Peace River has taken over the admin part of things, including taking care of the financial accounting, shall we say. So when we get money from grants and whatnot on that committee, it gets paid into a town of Peace River account that is been reported on. So I am the rep in this committee, so I'm quite willing to take this back. Our next meeting is November 7th, so we would expect something shortly thereafter. Our meeting following that is not till February, so you wouldn't get any under November, February, put that way. So anybody else questions on this one? The evolution that CAO referred to is that we initially started as attraction retention of medical doctors. And as you now know, the medical system and a few other healthcare systems in town have changed. So the committee also on recommendations from RPAP, the Rural Health Organization, has basically kind of guided us to expand our view, not just medical doctors, but nurses, any allied healthcare, just depending on the situation. So somebody could make a motion to deal with this. I can do that. Okay, Councillor Shannon, your motion would be?
Move that council direct administration to engage with the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction and Retention Committee in drafting revised terms of reference for member ratification.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion? Okay, it is carried. Next up, we have the Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisory Committee, and Mr. Ford is speaking to this one. That's where it goes.
Sure.
Or making this another one. I could start. Okay, sorry.
Oh, sorry, so really it's Deputy Mayor, or sorry, Councillor Ford now is the sponsor of this request for decision. So the Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisory Committee is advocating to bring forward a local prosecutor to manage the bail hearings. And the thought behind it is if the prosecutor that's managing those bail hearings are local, they would understand the impact on our community and get to know the common clients that they give bail conditions to, and then their conditions would perhaps reflect the impact on our community. So they've sought advocacy letters from all of us municipalities that are in this region affected, and they are seeking councils as well. And Deputy Mayor, or if Councillor Ford would want to speak anymore, I hope I did it justice.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head. And I can give you an example because it was on the Alberta Police Report app just approximately a week ago. So just as an example, we had a gentleman, not mentioning any names, of course, that was arrested on multiple charges and did go to court or went on this bail thing, and this person was released. This same individual reoffended, and just a week ago was rearrested up north. And this individual has caused issues in Peace River, Grimshaw, Manning, Keg River, High Level. And it's kind of like almost like a vicious circle where when you're doing a bail hearing via closed circuit TV, it's a little bit different than having somebody sitting in an office in Edmonton compared to having somebody locally that knows the Northern Alberta communities and may or may not know the individuals and can make alternate decisions when it comes to bail release.
Any questions on this matter? So, Councilor Boychuk.
I would just like to comment that, I know we've applied for this once before and been denied. And I would like to take a look at the direct route and maybe mention that in our letter of what is causing these prisoners to be released on such low amount of bail and stuff like that. And the complications it caused in our community and our businesses, because none of these other letters really highlight that as strongly as we could, and how our residents are feeling the impact of this very deeply.
So this applies to somebody who's been charged with something. And he's still in the community, goes to the court system and.
Yeah, so basically with bail, you're arrested, you're in custody, and you have to be in front of a judge or a justice of the peace. And if the person that's in custody is successful, they would be released on conditions. And a lot of times these conditions, they just reoffend. It's like a vicious circle, just like the example I just gave, where person was released, reoffended, recharged, and re-released again.
Councilor Carr?
Aren't these justice of the peace, are they not local? Like, would they not be familiar with them?
They're in Edmonton.
Or are they in Edmonton as well?
Yeah, a lot of them are a lot of them are in the city, and everything's done via closed circuit TV on video.
Well, the reason I ask is my dad used to be a justice of the peace here, so I just wondered if they changed that.
I think the system has changed over time.
Yeah.
Somehow rather, and I don't know, maybe there's different levels of justice of the peace that some can deal with this and some don't or can't or something. I don't know. Okay, so the question being asked of us is the town or is council willing to have the town write a letter in support of this request? Councilor Ford?
Thank you, Your Worship. I put a motion on the floor that council provide a letter in support of the Peace Regional RCMP Advisory Committee request for a pilot Northwest Regional Bail Crown Prosecutor pilot project with the added concerns from Councillor Boychuk.
And would the mayor be signing this letter?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, any further questions? All those in favor of the motion? It is carried. Thank you. Thank
Madam
you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would just like to comment that these are the remand people that we are having problems with in our community. These are the ones being released into our community on a regular basis.
So it affects them as well as the person newly arrested on the street.
Yes, these are the remanded prisoners we're talking about that get arrested, not convicted, just charged and released.
Slightly different than I was thinking, actually, because what I heard was this was a person walking down the street, did something wrong, got arrested. Then he goes to the bail hearing. But you're saying the bail hearing, he could have been
He will still be remanded until he gets in front
in
of
the bail hearing.
And that's why they get 3 hours to release these guys,
Okay,
or whatever, that day they have to be.
okay.
And
Gotcha.
it is tying up a large amount of ours.
Yeah.
Large.
yeah. Well, and many things have to change in order to affect change, I guess. Okay, next up, thank you for that. And we now have reports. So these council event attendance reports. So mine is the first one up, and in September I was away a bit. So I went to the AM conference, and as you see, we attended and we advocated to various ministries on various topics. I attended the Sisters in Spirit Walk on September 30th, And new this year was a special eagle feather ceremony for some elders who had attended residential school. There was 8 or 10 that came to the event. And then I listed some upcoming events in October. If we have questions on. If not, Councillor Ford also has a council event attendance report and Councillor Ford.
Yes, on September 10th, I attended the International Firefighter Memorial Day at the Hall Number 1 downtown. September 13th, while the mayor was away on holidays, I delivered a speech at the library for suicide prevention on behalf of town council. On September 20th, I also delivered a speech on behalf of town council for the 2023 staff appreciation event, and then participated in the event itself. And on September 22nd, I participated in the SEPTED wrap-up meeting with our group.
And it's a wrap-up meeting because it's kind of
Done.
And it's duty. Okay, any questions of Councillor Ford? Okay, then would someone move that council accept reports 9.1 and 2 for, is it 9.1 and 2 or just 9.1 for information? Councillor Cars, so moves. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. Just a question on these reports. When are they supposed to be in, or do we have any kind of?
Need a cheat sheet.
I think it's the 6th of the month.
Is it? I know I.
Yeah, but is the 6th of the month really doable for people? Like, is it?
Well, if you have to get your hours in every month.
Yeah.
Just put
It
it
would
in,
be.
put in your.
Okay. Okay, so we're missing a couple from September that will get theirs in, and then we'll all be having our October ones in by October 6th, as I understand.
November 6th.
November 6th. October 6th before the event happens. Okay, okay, good. Information items, we have the October 3rd and October 20th council communication packages. Were there any things within those packages that someone wanted to comment on or not? There was quite a bit of information about different grant portals and stuff like that, that I assume that we're as municipalities trying to use. Anything else? The letter from the town to Sagatawa supporting their request for emergency funding grant is in there. Okay, would someone like to move that council accept item 10.1 for information? Who hasn't made a motion? Well, Councilor
I guess he's gonna hear.
Wojciech makes the motion then. Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. And I did comment to the CAO that I did, in looking at another council's agenda items, when they have items like this Sagatawa letter to Sagatawa, they put either the request letter with our response, or if it's a situation where the town of Peace River has requested something via letter and we get a response, say from a ministry, that the two letters are put together within the council agenda. So it kind of refreshes our memory that we asked about healthcare and somebody responded about prisons, or, you know, that kind of thing, just to keep our memories hot and heavy about what we're asking and what the responses were. So that's just a comment. We'll see what admin thinks. Notices of motion, any?
None.
Okay, comments from the public? Nope. Okay, key communication items. Well, we did have an organizational meeting, so we do have committee appointments, board appointments, talk about the STIP grant possible application for the events park. Anything else that comes to mind? We good for today then?
Maybe the support letter for,
Sagatawa,
no, for,
that we're writing that letter. Yeah. Okay, so about 3 items, give or take. Okay, now, let's take a 4-minute break. So 6:35, we'll be back here and we'll go into closed session. Works.
Hi, Alicia.